The night the fire broke out, the town of Willow Creek was wrapped in a heavy silence. It was the kind of silence that only comes after a long, hot summer day, when the air is thick and the world seems to hold its breath. But that silence was shattered just after midnight, when the first sirens wailed through the empty streets, and the sky above Maple Lane glowed an angry orange. The old house at the end of the street was ablaze. Flames licked at the windows, devouring the wooden porch and sending plumes of black smoke into the night. Neighbors gathered on their lawns, faces pale in the flickering light, as the fire trucks screeched to a halt and firefighters leapt into action. Among the chaos, a dog darted through the crowd. He was a large, mixed breed with a thick, golden coat and intelligent, anxious eyes. His name was Buddy, and everyone in Willow Creek knew him. He belonged to Mrs. Henderson, the elderly woman who lived alone in the burning house. Buddy was her constant companion, her shadow, her protector. But tonight, Buddy was frantic. He barked and whined, circling the firefighters as they unrolled hoses and smashed windows. He tugged at their sleeves, pawed at their boots, and ran back and forth between the burning house and the men in heavy gear. At first, the firefighters tried to shoo him away, thinking he was just another frightened pet desperate to escape the flames. But Buddy refused to leave. He planted himself in front of the fire chief, barking with a desperation that was impossible to ignore. His eyes were wild, his body trembling. But there was a purpose in his movements, a message he was trying to convey. Fire Chief Daniels knelt down, looking Buddy in the eye. "What is it, boy?" he asked, his voice calm but urgent. Buddy barked again, then turned and ran toward the side of the house, glancing back over his shoulder as if begging the chief to follow. Daniels hesitated for only a moment before signaling to two of his men. "Let's check it out," he said. The three of them followed Buddy around the side of the house, away from the worst of the flames. The dog led them to a small, overgrown door half hidden by ivy and years of neglect. Buddy scratched at the door, whining and barking, his tail wagging anxiously. Daniels tried the handle. It was locked. With a nod, one of the firefighters swung his axe, splintering the wood. The door creaked open, revealing a narrow staircase descending into darkness. The heat from the fire was growing, and the smoke was thick. But Buddy bounded down the stairs without hesitation. The firefighters exchanged worried glances, then followed, their flashlights cutting through the gloom. What they found at the bottom of the stairs would haunt them for the rest of their lives. The air in the basement was cool and damp, a stark contrast to the inferno raging above. The narrow staircase opened into a small, windowless room lined with shelves and old furniture. Dust motes danced in the beams of the firefighters' flashlights, and the only sound was the distant roar of the fire and Buddy's anxious panting. At first, it seemed like any other forgotten cellar, boxes stacked in corners, jars of preserves, a few pieces of broken furniture. But Buddy ignored all of this. He ran straight to the far wall, where a faded tapestry hung from a rusty nail. He pawed at the fabric, whining urgently. Chief Daniels stepped forward, pulling the tapestry aside. Behind it was a door, smaller than the first, almost invisible against the stone wall. The chief's heart pounded as he tried the handle. This door, too, was locked, but a few swift blows from the axe broke it open. The hidden room was barely larger than a closet. Inside, the air was stale and heavy, and the darkness seemed to press in from all sides. But as the firefighters' lights swept the space, they froze in shock. In the center of the room, huddled together on a thin mattress, were two children, a boy and a girl no older than 10. Their faces were pale, their eyes wide with terror. They clung to each other, trembling as the light fell on them. Buddy rushed to their side, licking their faces and whining with relief. The children threw their arms around the dog, sobbing into his fur. Chief Daniels knelt beside them, his voice gentle. "It's okay. You're safe now. We're here to help." The boy looked up, his voice barely a whisper. "Buddy saved us. He wouldn't leave us." The firefighters worked quickly, wrapping the children in blankets and carrying them up the stairs. The heat from the fire was intense now, and the house groaned as the flames devoured the last of the roof. But Buddy stayed close to the children, refusing to leave their side. Outside, the paramedics rushed to check the children for injuries. Mrs. Henderson, who had been rescued from her bedroom earlier, wept with relief when she saw them. "My grandchildren," she cried, hugging them tightly. "I thought I'd lost you." The crowd watched in stunned silence as the story spread, how Buddy had led the firefighters to the hidden room, how he had refused to leave until the children were safe. The dog who had always been a quiet presence in the neighborhood was now a hero. But as the fire was finally brought under control and the last embers died, questions began to surface. Why were the children hidden in that room? What had they been doing there? And how had Buddy known exactly where to find them? The answers, it turned out, would change everything the town thought it knew about the Henderson family and about Buddy himself. In the days that followed the fire, Willow Creek buzzed with rumors. The story of Buddy's heroism was on everyone's lips, but so were the questions. The children, Emma and Lucas, were kept at the hospital for observation, and Mrs. Henderson stayed by their side, refusing to leave even for a moment. The police launched an investigation. They interviewed Mrs. Henderson, the children, and the firefighters who had found them. At first, the story seemed simple. The children had been staying with their grandmother, while their parents were away on business. When the fire broke out, Mrs. Henderson had tried to get everyone out, but in the confusion, Emma and Lucas had become separated and trapped in the basement. But as the detectives dug deeper, inconsistencies began to emerge. The hidden room was not just a storage closet, it was reinforced, soundproofed, and stocked with supplies. The door had been locked from the outside. And the children, when questioned gently by a social worker, revealed that they had been told to hide there whenever strangers came to the house. Mrs. Henderson, when confronted, broke down in tears. She explained that she had built the room years ago, during a time when the world felt dangerous and uncertain. She had lost her husband in a home invasion, and ever since she had lived in fear. The hidden room was her way of protecting her family, a secret, place where the children could be safe if anything ever happened. Buddy, she explained, had been trained by her late husband. He knew every inch of the house, every hiding place, every secret. When the fire started, Mrs. Henderson had tried to get the children out, but the smoke and confusion had separated them. She had screamed for Buddy, and he had understood. He had found the children, led them to the hidden room, and stayed with them, refusing to leave even as the flames closed in. The town was stunned. The story of Buddy's loyalty and intelligence spread far beyond Willow Creek. News crews arrived, eager to interview the family and the firefighters. Buddy became a local celebrity, his picture appearing on the front page of the newspaper, his story shared on television and social media. But for Mrs. Henderson and her grandchildren, the real miracle was not the fame or the attention. It was the simple fact that they were alive, together, and safe. And it was all because of Buddy, the dog who had refused to give up, who had risked everything to save the ones he loved. Yet as the days passed and the family began to rebuild, another secret slowly came to light. For in the ashes of the old house, the firefighters found something that would change the way everyone saw Buddy and the Henderson family forever. The fire had destroyed much of the Henderson home, but as the cleanup began, the firefighters discovered a small, fireproof box hidden beneath the floorboards of the basement. Inside were photographs, letters, and a worn leather collar with a brass tag engraved with the name Buddy. The letters told a story that spanned generations. They revealed that Buddy was not the first dog to bear that name. For over 50 years, the Henderson family had raised and trained dogs, each one named Buddy, each one taught to protect and care for the family. The original Buddy had belonged to Mrs. Henderson's husband, a war veteran who had brought the dog home after serving overseas. Together, they had survived hardship and loss, and Buddy had become a symbol of hope and resilience. Every generation since had continued the tradition. When one buddy grew old, another was trained to take his place. Each dog learned the secrets of the house, the hidden room, the ways to keep the family safe. The current buddy was the latest in a long line of guardians, each one carrying the legacy of those who had come before. The town was moved by the story. People who had once seen Buddy as just another neighborhood dog now understood the depth of his loyalty and the history he represented. The Henderson family became a symbol of strength and unity, and Buddy was celebrated as a true hero. A ceremony was held in the town square. The mayor presented Buddy with a special medal, and the children of Willow Creek drew pictures and wrote letters thanking him for his bravery. Mrs. Henderson, her voice trembling with emotion, spoke to the crowd. "Buddy is more than just a dog," she said. "He is family. He is love. He is the reason we are all here today." As the applause faded and the crowd dispersed, Buddy lay at Mrs. Henderson's feet, his eyes bright and content. He had done what he was trained to do, what he was born to do. He had protected his family, led the firefighters to the hidden room, and saved the lives of those he loved. In the months that followed, the Hendersons rebuilt their home, stronger and safer than before. Buddy remained a constant presence, his loyalty unwavering, his love unconditional. And as the seasons changed and the years passed, the story of the dog who led firefighters to a hidden room became a legend in Willow Creek, a reminder that sometimes the greatest heroes walk on four legs, and that the bonds of love and loyalty can endure even the fiercest of fires. And so Buddy's legacy lived on, not just in the hearts of the Henderson family, but in the spirit of a town that had learned, through one dog's courage, the true meaning of family, hope, and home.